cold within the warmth. The silence of Jerusalem mornings echoed through the narrow alleys, interrupted only by the rhythmic footsteps of passers-by. The ancient stone walls stood like tired old sentinels guarding the city soul. Near one of the corners, not far from the old city's ramparts, sat an old man with a worn cardboard box, Meir. His face was mapped with the lines of a long, burdened life. His eyes, though weary, held a faint glimmer of hope. Each morning, as tourists wandered past him, he watched quietly. Sometimes he nodded, sometimes he smiled. But never did he beg. His silence evoked a deeper sense of compassion in people. One morning, a black armored car stopped at the narrow street. The door opened and Benjamin Netanyahu stepped out. He wore a grey overcoat, his expression serious yet thoughtful. That morning, he had decided to do something different. Step away from politics and offer a more human gesture. His eyes landed on Meir. "Good morning," Netanyahu said, bending slightly. Meir looked up, surprised but courteous. "Good morning, sir. Is there anything I can help you with?" Netanyahu smiled. He wasn't used to such politeness from someone living on the street. "What's your name?" he asked. "Meir. Meir Shalev." And so the story began. Two different worlds. Netanyahu had a small bench brought over and sat beside Meir. On that crowded street, beneath the shadow of ancient walls, they sat like old friends. People stared in confusion and awe. Some took photos. A prime minister chatting with a homeless man wasn't something they saw every day. "How long have you been here?" Netanyahu asked. Meir lowered his head. 7 years. I lost my wife, then my job, then my home. Only the memories remain. And they are heavier than ever. "What did you do before this?" "I was a tailor," Meir replied, a flicker of pride in his eyes. "Started in my father's shop. Feeling the fabric, crafting clothes that fit not just the body, but the soul. But times changed." Netanyahu remained silent. He knew what it meant to come from modest roots. Though his own father was a history professor, their home had been far from lavish. For a brief moment, he felt a quiet empathy. "Can your hands still hold a needle?" he asked. Meir smiled faintly. "They tremble, but they haven't forgotten." Netanyahu pulled out a small notepad. "If you're ready, Meir, I want to help you start something." Meir's eyes widened. The sincerity in those words reached him deeply. "Can we really?" "Yes," Netanyahu said. "But only on one condition: leave the past behind." 3. The first step. 2 days later, Meir was picked up by a government vehicle. Temporary housing had been arranged in one of the city's residential buildings. Netanyahu's advisor, Itamar, had handled all the logistics. But more importantly, a new beginning was underway. Near Mahan Yehuda Market, an old but sturdy shop had been found. It once belonged to a shoemaker. Modest in size, yet bright with natural light. Perfect for a tailor. "This could be yours," Netanyahu said as they approached the door. "Mine," Meir whispered. "But it shouldn't be this easy." "It wasn't," Netanyahu replied. "But it feels right." Meir fought back tears. After years of isolation, he was about to unlock a door with a key of his own. 4. The sewing machine and memory. The first thing Meir asked for was an old Singer sewing machine, just like the one his father used. To him, it wasn't just a tool. It was a memory, a bridge. Within 2 weeks, the shop had been completely renovated. Fine fabrics were stocked. Mannequins lined the walls. A large wooden desk stood beneath the front window. Above the door, a simple sign was installed. Shalev Tailor Shop, tradition in every stitch. On opening day, Netanyahu personally attended. Local media covered the event. But what mattered most to Meir was the curiosity on the faces of passers-by. "I'm here," Meir said to them gently. "If you have fabric, we can dream together." An echo through the city. Soon, word of Meir's shop spread across Jerusalem. People admired his patience, humility, and craftsmanship. Even young designers began visiting him for advice. One day, a young woman came into the shop holding a torn jacket. "Can you fix this?" she asked. Meir took it, studied the fabric with care. "I won't just fix it," he said. "I'll give you a new memory." He repaired it so beautifully that the woman cried with gratitude. For Meir, this had become a mission. Each stitch was a prayer. Each thread, a new beginning. 6. After the shadows. Not everything was easy. Some critics accused Netanyahu of using Meir's story for political gain. Certain media outlets framed it as a publicity stunt. But Meir stayed silent. One reporter asked, "Do you think Netanyahu might be using you?" Meir looked him in the eye and said, "If someone opens a door for you, walking through it with gratitude is not the same as being used." The quote went viral. 7. Reunion. One morning, an elderly man entered the shop. His beard was even wider than Meir's, his eyes more tired. In his hand, a faded photograph. "Is this you?" the man asked. Meir took the photo. Two young men stared back, one of them himself, the other an old friend, Ovram. "Ovram," Meir whispered, throat tightening. "It's me," the man said. "I've been looking for you for years. I heard a miracle happened. That you rose again." They embraced. Meir knew not everything could be recovered. But friendship could outlast any stitch. 8. Toward closure. Over time, Meir's shop became more than just a tailor's workshop. It was now a learning space. Youth came to learn sewing. Elders came to share stories. Everyone left with a bit of hope, or left some behind. Netanyahu visited a few more times. Each time, Meir welcomed him the same way. "You didn't just help one man stand up. You helped stitch together a city." Netanyahu smiled. "All I did was sew on a button, Meir. You made the shirt." 9. Final thread. 1 year later, Meir published a small book, A Prayer in the Thread. It chronicled his memories, losses, and rebirth. The final sentence read, "Opening a shop isn't just about walls and tools. Sometimes it begins to repair the deepest crack inside a man's soul." The final customer. It was a rainy afternoon in Jerusalem. The shop's golden light spilled gently onto the wet stones outside. Meir, now with steadier hands and brighter eyes, adjusted a suit on a mannequin. It had been a quiet day, no fittings, no visitors. Only the hum of the old Singer machine and the scent of warm fabric. Just as he reached for his tea, the door creaked open. A boy entered. Around 9 or 10 years old, wearing a school uniform too short at the wrists. His shoes were soaked. He clutched a paper envelope. "Are you the tailor who helped my grandfather?" he asked shyly. Meir paused. "What was your grandfather's name?" "Moshe Shalev," the boy said. "He passed away last month. He always talked about you, how you taught him to sew again after his stroke. He said this place gave him back his pride." Meir gently took the envelope. Inside was a letter. And a patch of blue cloth. "He asked me to bring this to you. Said you'd know what to do with it." Meir nodded slowly. That patch was from the first suit he and Moshe had sewn together. He turned to his machine, picked up the patch, and whispered, "Then let's finish what we started." The needle began to move again, slow and steady, like a prayer. Outside, the rain continued to fall. But inside the shop, there was only light. And the soft music of rebirth in every stitch.